The Jaguars just took a beating in the first quarter of this game, to say the least. Ultimately, the Jaguars fall in week 10 to the Indianapolis Colts 23 to 17. Man, I thought the Jags were driving that final in the final, 2 minutes of the game. Looked like they had a really good drive going. Unfortunately, Trevor fumbles. They fall to 2 and 7. And hey, it's on to San Francisco back at the bank. It's going to be good to get back home. Let's see if we can't keep this home rolling going because, hey, we beat the Bills at home, one of the best teams in the AFC. They just steamrolled the Jets. So let's get back home, get stuff figured out. Man, it was a struggle for this Jaguars offense all around, all day, you could say. Ultimately, 6 of the first 7 drives on offense went for 3 and out. They couldn't do anything offensively, especially in the first quarter. It seemed like by the end of the first quarter, the defense kind of started to figure themselves out. The offense started to get things going, but man, it really didn't look like they actually had it together the entire time. Even in the last, 2 drives, when they really actually showed like they were moving the ball, I was questioning what they were doing on offense because it was bad throws by Trevor, underthrows, overthrows on the Arnold out, underthrow on the Marvin cut in, or I don't even know what to call it. But still, I think it was a back shoulder throw. He just completely, like 4 yards underthrew it. Just stuff like that. And then on top of that, his receivers didn't help him at all either. I haven't seen an official drop number, but I've seen anywhere from 5 to 7. That seems to be the range of drops that people are going with. And whenever you're looking at a stat sheet that has your quarterback going 16 for 35, how does 21 of 35 or 23 of 35 sound? Sounds a whole hell of a lot better. And whenever you have those stupid drops, you had the James Robinson drop, which ultimately was a good drop in all reality because he would have lost like 5 yards. But then you have the Dan Arnold drop on 3rd down. You have the Agnew drop on 3rd down. Marvin Jones drop on 3rd down. All of these drops, Visca had a drop. I think every receiving threat this team has that's a mainstay had a drop this week. And yes, Trevor made bad plays. Trevor hasn't been playing well at all. I'm gonna, does that have something to do with the fact that his receiving core is garbage? Yes, but at the same time, he needs to be able to make good throws, and he's made bad throws. Yes, he's a rookie. Yes, but we're being critical of him because we know what he can be and what he is. He is not this quarterback that's going 16 for 35. Okay, I'll give you 20 for 35 because of his drops. And then less than 200 yards, no scores, no interceptions. Great. He hasn't thrown an interception. He really hasn't thrown that many interceptions after he got it out of his system in the first quarter of the season. He's really been good about not turning the ball over through the air, but still, he's got to play better. And that's gonna be the mainstay of what you hear about Jaguars content throughout the week. Whether it's me, the radio, other YouTubers, it's gonna be that Lawrence is struggling. This receiving core is abysmal. We have a special teamer as our number 1 receiving target. The guy we brought in to be the number 1 isn't very good. Dan Arnold, who, thank God we have Dan Arnold, because imagine if we didn't. Imagine if Chris Manhertz was the number 1 receiving tight end on this team. Oh, good God. But I'm going to get off that. I'm going to get off that soapbox. I've spent too much time talking about it. James Robinson, he's still playing like the best player consistently on this team. He averaged 4.5 yards a carry again, and I'm pretty sure he stayed above the 4.5 mark over the majority. I'd say like 80% of the season. And then he also had a score. He was a pivotal role player on that drive. Whenever it was 9-20, he really brought it back to 17. Whenever they scored that touchdown, that was on the back of James Robinson. They established the run early on it, and they got it going. And then ultimately, James punches it in from 2 yards out over the top. Very happy to see James Robinson back. This offense is better when James Robinson's in it. Carlos Hyde, I hate him. I hate the fact that Carlos Hyde got snaps on 3rd down. I hate the fact that Carlos Hyde was run so much in the first quarter of the season. I hate Carlos Hyde. I'm tired of him. I hope I never hear his name again. And because all he does is take snaps away from James Robinson. Yes, he might have been nursing the heel, but man, on 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5, whatever, on 3rd down, James Robinson needs to be in. Carlos Hyde, you cannot tell me that Carlos Hyde is that much of a better receiving threat than James Robinson is. James Robinson needs to be in the game. Dan Arnold is still the best receiving threat on this team. He got 7 targets today, I believe, for 5 touches, and then for 60 yards. He offers so much in the middle ground, in the middle of the game. When you have a rookie quarterback, that is where his bread and butter is short middle of the field. And that's exactly where Dan Arnold hangs out, and I love it. Dan Arnold's a great run after the catch guy as well, and he offers some in the pass and the run blocking as well. He's what we got right now with the fact that none of our receivers can get separation, and they're forcing Trevor to make these perfect throws time and time and time again. It's struggling to watch. So Dan Arnold, keep doing what you're doing. Just fix your damn drops, man. I think you had 1 to 2 of them today. Just fix those, and you will be in Jaguars fans' good graces, because right now you're the best receiving threat this team has. Man, do I need to go in more about this receiving core? Do I? Visca, Agnew, Jones, drops. Fix your life. Sanjay Lal, can you coach them on how to catch a ball? We fired McCardell. He goes up to Minnesota. Are the Vikings doing well receiving wise? I don't care. But what the hell's going on, Sanjay? You've got all of these players that we expected to be good dropping the ball. Then you have a special teamer that's dropping the ball. This defense. Hey, I'm gonna finish on a good note. The defense played their asses off today, and ultimately, you look at it. You take off the special teams touchdown, which they had nothing to do with. They scored 16 points today. The Jaguars win this game if if you take off the special teams touchdown. Obviously, that touchdown counts, so the Jaguars lose. But if you count only what the defense gave up, man, I'm excited to say this defense looks good. This defense, this was a big question mark game for them, because against Buffalo, it was kind of just did Buffalo not know what they were going to get with this Jags defense? No, this Jaguars defense looks very good. Ultimately, if Jonathon Taylor really took off in the first quarter. After that, he really didn't have that much of an impact on the game. A lot of maybe an 8-yard run here or there, but overall, this Jaguars front 7 really shut down Jonathon Taylor. Outside of that first quarter, Josh Allen, he is playing lights out in November. Man, he came very, very close to getting a couple sacks today. He was right on the heels of Carson Wentz. He did end up with 1 tackle for loss, and he was very, very involved in the run game. I'm loving what I'm seeing out of Josh in November. Another defensive lineman I am loving in the month of November, Taven Bryan. Holy cow. Man, Bull Rush City all over Quentin Nelson. Quentin Nelson didn't know what hit him drive after drive after drive, because Taven Bryan was consistently in the backfield against this Colts offense, which is one of the best in the league at pass blocking and run blocking. He was a menace against Quentin Nelson, who was arguably like a top 3 guard in the league. I'm ecstatic out of what I saw out of Taven Bryan. I'm hoping to see more of it. Joe Cullen, whatever you have him doing, keep having him do it. I want a man on a regimented schedule of exactly what he's done these past 2 weeks. He needs to continue it, because, good Lord, we have not seen this Taven Bryan since we drafted him in 2018. So keep doing what you're doing, Taven. Ultimately, the entire front 7 played well. Pass rush was very good. Ultimately, the Carson Wentz was trying to give this game away. He was throwing the ball with his left hand. He was falling to the ground as he was just kind of throwing it 5 yards within his nearest receiver. Pass rush was all over him. Ultimately only got, I believe, 2 sacks on him. But still, front 7, linebackers, they all played well as a whole. Shaq Griffin with another dropped interception. That's just being nitpicky. Ultimately did pretty well today. Unfortunately, that is his 4th dropped interception of the year. But man, that would have been a game-changing, a massive momentum shift for this defense, for this team, if he does come up with that in the 4th quarter. But unfortunately, he didn't. And, here we are talking about 4 drop picks. Overall, this Jaguars defense, they held the Colts receivers in check. They, I believe Jonathon Taylor did go over his average for the year in this game, which sucks. But these Colts receivers definitely were held below it. They were held over 40 yards, below their average for the year. They held them to 180 yards this game. Overall, they didn't do anything in the second half. Yes, I know they were up big through the majority of the 3rd quarter, but still, they didn't show a whole lot of oomph throughout the entire game. It was the Jonathon Taylor show in the first half, and then it was the Jaguars defense half in the show in the second half. So, but all right, here we go. We're gonna get sad again. Dewey Wingard, two massive things with this. Two massive things with Wingard this week. Missed tackles on Jonathon Taylor in the first half. You know, he played well in the second half, but good God, if I can take back that first quarter from I don't know what happened to him in the first quarter because he missed a block on the block punt. He missed the block on that guy that blocked the punt. He did. He missed it, and I'm 1,000% putting all of the weight on that blocked punt on Andrew Wingard. Now, also, several missed tackles against Jonathon Taylor whenever he missed the first one. I believe it was like a 30-plus yard run. He missed him on that. He missed him going, I think it was like getting him inside the 5 on that same drive. He just missed Jonathon Taylor several times. Matthew Wright was 1 of 3 today. He made 1 of 50, made 1 from 50, missed 1 from 50, and then missed the only extra point he attempted today. I don't know what is so hard about this kicking thing. Ultimately, yes, I know it's it is the NFL. It's difficult, yes, but how are you this bad at finding a good kicker? I think the Jaguars absolutely need to reopen their kicking search because he was 3 of 6 unofficially last week, and then that makes him 4 of 9 in his last 2 weeks. I'm over this Matthew Wright thing. Great, thanks for the kicks in London, they were awesome. Thanks for the points against Buffalo, but at the end of the day, you're 4 of 9 unofficially in your last 2. I'm over it, man. Nice. Thanks for coming to Jacksonville. Hope you enjoyed the sunshine. Bye. And we absolutely got spoiled by Jamal Agnew's first 2 touchdowns in the first quarter of the season with his kick 6 and then also the kick return for the touchdown. He absolutely he spoiled Jaguars fans to expect something big every time he touches it. I'm still going to expect it because any time you have 2 special teams touchdowns from the same guy in the return game in one season, massive upside for the rest of the season. Now, man, 2-7. Going up against a 49ers team, we're back at the bank. I'm excited for it. I think the Jaguars are going to have a good chance against them. As long as we can figure out this offensive problem, I think this defense is good enough to win us several games this year. We just need to be able to score 20 points. I don't think this Jaguars team has scored it in a while. And so I want to see 20 points on the board. I want to see Trevor throwing touchdowns because, good Lord, 8 by week 10 is not enough. Trevor needs to start throwing touchdowns. His receivers need to start catching the ball. Feed James Robinson 20 times a game. Give the man that is like holding your offense in the palm of his hand. Give him the ball because the man rushed for 4.8 today. He had, 5.5 on the year. Give James Robinson the ball. The defense is good. Trevor needs to work on some stuff. Needs to just accuracy problems. And then the receivers need to do their one job and catch the ball. Man, it sucks that I'm having to end it on a negative note, but the team's 2-7. Hey, at the end of the day, it's Duval till we die, baby. Stay safe and go Jaguars.
Dude!